sisters, I am Helaman. My grandfather was even Alma, who you witnessed earlier today, who witnessed and saw Abinadi himself give his life. It changed my grandfather's life. My father was Alma. Yes, he was the one that went about trying to stir the other people against my grandfather. But it was an angel, literally, that appeared to him and changed his life. I love my father. I love my grandfather. My father taught me many things. He would sit me down. He would say, counsel with the Lord, and all thy doings he will direct thee for good. He would say, by small and simple things are great things brought to pass. He would say, Helaman, learn wisdom in thy youth. Yea, learn in thy youth to keep the commandments of God. He was a man of God. He was my father. My young youth, many of you here, I know at one time at least had a father, but some of you may not have a father now. I knew many of those who did not have a father. There was a people you learned about today, the people of Ammon, converted to the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they threw down their weapons of war and would not fight. They made a covenant. I lived in a time of war. The Lamanites sought to take away my family and the entire Nephite nation to be destroyed. It was that time the people of Ammon were ready to break their covenant. We said, we do not want you to break your covenant, but at this time, 2,000 of these young men came forth and they said, we will take a covenant that we will take up our arms and we will defend our liberty in our country. We've never fought, but we'll make a covenant to go forward. And Helaman, we want you to be our leader. My young youth, I witnessed these young men were exceedingly valiant for courage and also for strength and activity. They were true at all times, and whatsoever they were entrusted. They were men of truth and sober, and they were taught to keep the commandments of God and to walk uprightly. At this time, the Lamanites had taken many cities. One of them was Anapara. Next to it was one of our armies led by the great leader, Antipas. Antipas was depleted. He came to say, Helaman, please come join. Bring your 2,000. And we joined him. At that time, the Lamanites in Antipara had the greatest and strongest army of the entire Lamanites. They would not leave their city. So Antipas said, Helaman, take your 2,000 and take provisions to a neighboring city and be a decoy. My 2,000 sons, they followed. We left not long after. The entire Lamanite army left and pursued us. We then fled northward into the wilderness. Soon after, Antipara's army left with him to follow the Lamanites. All day they followed us. Into the night, we rested. When we rose the next morning, again they were following us again. The Lamanites knew Antipara was right. Antipas was right behind him. They would not move to the left. They would move to the right. We slept that night again. The third morning, they were armed behind us. We fled, but not long after, we didn't see them. We didn't know. Did they turn to go against this great Antipas and his army? Or was it a decoy to surround us? I looked at these 2,000 and I said, what say ye, sons? Will you go to battle? Nay, at this time I had never seen so great courage in all the entire Nephite nation. These young men, they never had fought, but they did not seek they thought only about the liberty of their lives, the liberty of their fathers, and not about their own lives. They had been taught by their mothers that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. And they said, Helaman, let us go forth. We went forth. We soon found that Antipas was battling, and his army was getting depleted, and they were falling. Even Antipas and many of the leaders had fallen slain. Our young 2,000 joined with other Nephite armies, and the remaining armies fell upon the Lamanites. We began to slay them. By the grace of God, the Lamanite army, the strongest of their nation, delivered up their weapons of war and surrendered. I feared that many of my 2,000 have been slain. We searched, we looked. I say unto you, not one was slain. It was the astonishing and miracle power of God that they all lived. Our 2,000 sons became one of the greatest strengths to our Nephite army. We were asked to go to battle several times. The final battle came. Our Nephite army was depleting. We were retreating. I witnessed these 2,000 sons, with the strength of God, go forward into battle. The Lamanite army was defeated. Again, I feared lest many had been slain. I looked. Every one of my young men had been wounded, and even 200 had fainted because of the loss of blood. I asked and looked, have any been slain? After inspecting every one, my young youth, not one soul was lost. It was a miracle to the entire Nephite people. I testify to you is because of their faith in God. They've been taught by their mothers. They would rehearse unto me often. We doubt not because our mothers have taught us. We live in a day where we may not be like these 2,000 sons of Helaman, myself, who were fighting for their very lives. But my young youth, you are fighting a spiritual battle. You're fighting a battle against the adversaries. It's not seeking your physical lives. He's seeking your very souls. And we are in a great spiritual battle. I've witnessed your living prophet. Even today, I believe his name is President Russell M. Nelson. Not long ago, he called out and he said, my young youth, today, do you want to be a part of the greatest cause? Do you want to be a part of the greatest challenge? Do you want to be a part of the greatest work on earth today? Come join me. Join the gathering of Israel, bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ to all his people. And yes, the last days. You are going to be asked, just like my 2,000 sons, you've been taught, I know, by many faithful mothers. You've been taught by faithful leaders, individuals who have helped give you a glimpse of what the gospel of Jesus Christ can do and deliver you from whatever trials you'll be faced with in the last days. I'm asking you today, will you join today the Lord's Youth Battalion of the Lord? I know there are several here that I feel are well on the way of doing what needs to be done to join the Lord's Youth Battalion. My young youth, I've been given a scroll. I treasure this scroll. There's some treasured names on this scroll. And I'm going to invite some of you to come forward and join me. Join the Lord's Youth Battalion. Savannah Liberty, would you come forth? Anna Elcock. Jacob Allred. Corey McGrath. Jared Huber, Haley Farron, Sawyer Bills, Peyton Rule, Sawyer Morgan, Allison Churchill, Allie Kreider, Allison Nelson, Chloe Whiting, Kayla Cruz, Yasmin Pooley, Pauline John, Jay Reisdorf, Sophie Allen, Caden Reisdorf, Carson Campbell, Colin Curtis, Ethan Johnson, Dallin Cox, Zach Horn, JC Spencer, Jason Grober, Wyatt Bridges, Ryan Osborne, Caleb Freeman, Eliza Scoresby, Haven Nilsson, Ellie Bodden, Jocelyn Holland, Juliana Gressler, Kaylee Pierce, Sydney Sadowski, Jacob LeSueur, Holland Ebbard, Kate Kerr, Brady Eager, Sadie Solberg, Joshua Griffith, Emery Johnson, Michael Lane, Marley Hills, Abigail Clements, Regan Scoville, Araya Adams, Riley Lilliquist, Nathalie Youngman, Joshua Klein, Soraya Frost, Hallie Scoresby, Charlie Canlon, Natalie Perkins, Max Johnson, Natalie Rogers, Michael Kempton, Reagan Moody, Peyton Spencer, Tatiana Morrow, Peter Windward, Easton Hart Hatch, Travis Teamy, Ava Howard, Eliza Elcock. And if there are any individuals that have just graduated that I did not call out your name, I invite you to come forward and join.